All right, today we are going to tackle one of the most confusing, head-scratching frustrations in all of Microsoft Excel. But we're not just going to stop there. We're going to use that little fix as a jumping-off point to completely change the way you work, making you faster and way more efficient. Let's dive in.
So picture this. You're in the zone. You're flying through a spreadsheet, everything's going great, and then it happens. You hit the down arrow, expecting to go to the next cell, but nope. The cell stays put, and the entire worksheet just scrolls. It's that moment where you just stop and think, what is even happening right now? Okay, let's actually look at what's going on here. On the left, that's what we want. Normal, happy Excel. You press an arrow, the cell moves. Perfect. But on the right, that's the weirdness. That's the problem. The arrow keys are suddenly acting like a scroll wheel, and your active cell is just stranded. If that screen on the right looks painfully familiar, well, you're definitely in the right place.
And the culprit, the villain of our story, has a name: scroll lock. It's this kind of old-school feature that in most modern apps does literally nothing. But in Excel, in Excel, it wakes up and decides to cause chaos by completely changing what your arrow keys do. It's almost always turned on by accident.
But here's the funny part. A lot of the time, Excel is actually trying to tell you what's wrong. Just take a look, way down in the bottom left corner of your screen at that little gray status bar. If scroll lock is on, it will usually say scroll lock right there. It's been shouting the answer at you this whole time.
All right, so we've diagnosed the problem. Now comes the really satisfying part, turning this thing off. And don't worry, whether you're on a big desktop, a tiny laptop, or even a Mac, there is a simple fix for you.
Now, a lot of you are probably looking at your keyboard and thinking, I don't even have a scroll lock key. Super common on laptops. So for you, the most foolproof method is to use the on-screen keyboard. You just open it up through the Run menu, find that glowing Scroll L key, give it a click, and just like that, you're back in business.
But wait, before you even do that, if you're on a Dell or an HP laptop, you might have an even quicker fix. A lot of Dell laptops use the function key plus S, and HPs often use function plus C. It's for sure worth trying that first. It could literally be a 1-second solution.
And to all my Mac users, I haven't forgotten about you. Now, things are a little trickier here, because Excel for Mac doesn't give you that nice little warning on the status bar. But the fix is pretty similar. You're going to want to pull up the on-screen keyboard viewer and use that to turn it off. It's often the F14 key, or you can try the shortcut Fn plus Shift plus F12.
So there we have it. The bug is squashed. Your arrow keys work again. Hallelujah. But what if I told you this little journey from total frustration to a simple solution is actually a doorway to something much, much bigger? We're about to shift from just fixing problems to totally mastering Excel.
This quote really just hits the nail on the head. You know, becoming an Excel wizard isn't about memorizing 100 complex formulas. The real secret, it's about getting your hands off the mouse and letting your keyboard do the heavy lifting.
And get this, a small handful of shortcuts can probably handle up to 90% of all the actions you do every single day. The return on investment for learning just a few of these is, well, it's absolutely massive.
Okay, are you ready? Let's build that essential toolkit right now. We're about to go through the absolute must-know shortcuts that will have you flying around your spreadsheets, working smarter, not harder.
First up, navigation. And my first piece of advice is, stop scrolling. Seriously, use Control plus an arrow key. It will instantly teleport you to the edge of your data. It's a total game changer for big tables. Need to get back to the very beginning? Control plus home. Need to find the absolute last cell with data? Control plus end. No more endless scrolling.
And that power just multiplies when we talk about selecting data. Are you still clicking and dragging your mouse down 1,000 rows, just praying you don't slip? No more. Just click anywhere in a column and hit Control plus spacebar. Boom, entire column selected. Shift plus spacebar does the same for rows. And the master key, Control plus A, grabs your entire table instantly.
Now, of course, we have to mention the absolute essentials. These aren't just tips, they should be pure muscle memory. Control plus Z is your best friend, your oops button. Control plus S to save should be a reflex you use every few minutes. And obviously, copy and paste. Think of these less as shortcuts and more as your fundamental safety net.
And hey, here's a little pro-level tip for you. You can actually combine the keyboard and mouse for some really cool moves. If you hold the Control key while you drag some cells, you'll make a copy of them. If you hold Shift, you'll actually insert them between other cells. But my absolute favorite? Hold Control while you drag a worksheet tab at the bottom. You just instantly cloned the entire sheet.
So look at that. We went from fixing one tiny, incredibly annoying problem to laying out a whole new way of working in Excel. But knowing all this is one thing. The real question is, how do you actually make it a habit?
And listen, if you only take one piece of advice from this entire explainer, please let it be this. Do not try to learn all of these shortcuts at once. You'll just get overwhelmed and you'll give up. Instead, just pick one, the one that made you think, oh wow, that would save me so much time. And for this whole next week, commit to only using that shortcut. Once it's second nature, then you can add another.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Right now, think about your daily work in Excel. What's that one boring, repetitive task you always do with the mouse? Is it scrolling forever to the bottom of a table? Is it manually selecting a huge column of data? Whatever it is, that's your first target. So, what tedious task will you conquer first?